We all have many parts to us, but we don't always know them all, how they fit together, or how to navigate through them. This can make us feel like we're incomplete, because we don't know everything about ourselves. But that's okay, because we can still try to learn as much as we can, and in doing so, feel complete. And if you want to learn more about how, I made a whole other episode about it, right here. But even if we learn everything we can, we could still feel incomplete because we believe there's something missing. A secret ingredient or a missing link to ourselves. And if we just discover it, we will finally be complete. But that's not how life works. And that's not how human evolution works either. We aren't missing anything. And we aren't waiting to evolve into something complete. Because we're already complete. Every person and every species. This misunderstanding was shown by the infamous Piltdown Man Hoax, when even researchers were tricked into believing they found the missing link between man and ape. And eventually, just like they did, you too can learn the secret, that there is no secret ingredient, and there is no missing link. It's just you. At the turn of the 20th century, researchers were questioning who exactly our ancient ancestors were, what they looked like, and where they evolved. Then, in 1912, Charles Dawson, an amateur archaeologist, announced that in Piltdown, Britain, he had discovered the missing link between man and ape. A missing link is a hypothetical or a recently discovered fossil that exhibits traits common to both its ancestral group and its derived descendant group. Dawson's find was named Piltdown Man, and he stated that it had a human-like skull that was thick for a big brain, and an ape-like jaw that was big for chewing, but with human-like teeth that were flat and had short roots for chewing softer foods. Additionally, he reported the skull and jaw were found right next to each other, and were dated to be around 500,000 years old. These were the most convincing pieces of evidence to Piltdown Man being the missing link. Dawson was certain that all these signs pointed to an organism evolving from ape to man. The missing link. Some ancestral ape features still kept from long ago, and others replaced by human features throughout the evolution of man. Then, in 1915, Charles Dawson announced he found another fossil, just 2 miles away from Piltdown Man, which consisted of another thick skull and a flat tooth with short roots. Now with this additional evidence, Dawson and some of the scientific community argued that it was certain that Piltdown Man was the missing link between man and ape, and that researchers would finally be able to link together the incomplete story of human evolution. Unfortunately, Charles Dawson died shortly after in 1916, and never got to see the progress that was about to await. But neither did the researchers who supported his claims. When Piltdown Man was first announced, researchers thought that organisms had an innate tendency to evolve in a definite direction, towards some goal due to an internal mechanism or driving force. This evolutionary thought was called orthogenesis, or direct evolution, and it primed researchers to believe that a missing link already existed. Piltdown Man also had the support of Sir Arthur Smith Woodward, the keeper of geology at the Natural History Museum. He was the first one that Dawson contacted, and the first one to fit the fossil pieces together. Because of Woodward's position and support, researchers believed even more that Piltdown Man was the missing link. Additionally, race, nationalism, and gender influenced researchers and the public's belief that this fossil specifically must be the missing link. They attempted to make analogies between Piltdown Man and non-white races, saying that they're less evolved than white races. British scientists proclaimed the discovery as the first Englishman, and they even named it Piltdown Man, even though its sex was unknown. But then, in 1950, a geologist named Francis Edmunds reported that the gravel where Piltdown Man was found was incorrectly documented and couldn't have produced a fossil around 500,000 years old. Piltdown Man's age was one of the most convincing pieces of evidence it had, and this new information was not expected by supporting researchers. Could they be wrong? Not only about Piltdown Man, but about how they view human evolution? Is there a missing link? Finally, on November 21st, 1953, Piltdown Man was officially revealed to be a hoax, not only as fake fossils, but also as a never-existing missing link. It was revealed through fluorine dating that the jaw actually belonged to an orangutan. The teeth were filed down to look human-like, and all of the fossils Dawson presented were no more than 50,000 years old, 10 times younger than Dawson claimed. Researchers were confused, not because there was a missing link all along, but because they thought there was. And once they finally understood that Piltdown Man was not a real fossil, they soon realized the truth and became aware of the evidence not only from the whistleblower paper of Francis Edmunds, but also from the very beginning. Even in the very beginning, some researchers have their doubts about Piltdown Man. Immediately after their showcasing, the skull and jaw fossils were very difficult to put together, as if they didn't fit at all. Some researchers even suggesting the jaw belonged to an ape, decades before Edmunds showed that to be true. Now we understand human evolution not as links in a chain, with a middle in between the beginning and end, but rather a braided stream of interconnecting species that blur the lines into an endless spectrum. Long after the Piltdown Man hoax was revealed, researchers used modern techniques to further refute it and attempt to reveal those responsible. DNA analysis revealed that Piltdown Man's jaw belonged to an orangutan, and the skull fragments belonged to a human. Chemical methods show that the fake fossils were stained brown and loaded with gravel to look older than they were. And these later studies, which included more accurate radiometric dating methods, found Piltdown Man to only be 500 years old, 100 times younger than Dawson claimed. And finally, although there have been many suspicions to other perpetrators in the Piltdown Man hoax, two things are for sure. One, Charles Dawson was at the center of it all. And two, the Piltdown Man hoax allowed us to finally learn that there is no missing link. We often believe that there's a secret ingredient or a missing link to ourselves. And if we discover it, we'll be complete. But that's not how life works. And that's certainly not how human evolution works. The Piltdown Man hoax shows us that even in human evolution, researchers thought the missing link would be the key to understanding our evolutionary story. But they were wrong. And hopefully, by understanding how they figured out that there is no missing link to human evolution, you too can realize that there is no missing link to discovering who you are. It's just you.